Housing organisations across the state are waging a campaign against cuts to the homeless sector. The government has slashed funding to the Social Housing Advocacy and Support Program, SHASP, by 30%, with more cuts on the way next year. More than 1,000 supporters have signed a petition against the cuts, as Amy Bainbridge reports.
Sharon is the full-time carer of her 2 grandchildren. She's a victim of domestic violence and doesn't want to be identified. She's one of the thousands of Victorians living in public housing and using the SHASP program.
They've put me in touch with all the support workers I need, as in the domestic violence counselling, psychologists.
11 SHASP providers help 6,000 households manage everything from budgeting to accessing services.
Some days it's a godsend because, you could be at your lowest point and then all of a sudden you get a phone call just to see how things are tracking.
SHASP has been operating for 6 years. The government's cutting the program's funding by 30%, with more cuts next year.
It will lead to further evictions, it will lead to more families who become homeless, and it will lead to greater costs eventually for the government overall as people go through the homelessness sector.
It makes me feel horrid because I just think, who's going to stand up for the little people now?
The government says it's working with providers to minimise the impact on case management support.
We have a choice of going into deficit or staying in surplus. The decision was taken, and it was a responsible decision, and that is to remain in surplus.
Does it want to support the most vulnerable people in the community to maintain their tenancy, or do they want to throw them back into homelessness?
The organisations aren't just worried about the number of people that need this program and will now miss out. The funding cuts are also costing jobs in both the city and in regional areas. Campaigners say about 20 jobs are going across the state and 2,000 households will miss out on help. They say more cuts will be devastating for agencies and for those in need. Amy Bainbridge, ABC News.